Thank you. Okay, I'm calling to order the Finance Committee meeting on Monday, February 3rd, 2025. May I have an approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Made by Peter, seconded by Jill. We'll do roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Jill? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye. Okay, thank you. I'm now going to open it for public comments. And I will close it for public comment. Okay, so this is the public hearing on the 2025 annual town meeting warrant articles and potential adoption of motions. What I will be doing is reading the name of each article and then seeing if anyone wants to speak to it. There will be some that we'll be able to discuss and make our recommendations for today. So as there's 104 of which we have 5 done, I'll just dive right in. Article 1, receipt of reports. Libby, I'll turn it over to you or Brian on this one.
Well, this is simply the annual routine required article that pretty much all towns have on their annual town meeting warrants to receive all reports as printed in the town report. Approval recommended as usual.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adopt.
May I have a second? Second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Chris?
Aye.
Jill? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Denise, aye. That is unanimous. Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Okay, Article 2, appropriation unpaid bills. Article 3, appropriation prior year articles. Article 4, revolving accounts spending limit for fiscal year 2026.
Can I make a motion to adopt all 3 of those?
No, we
No,
can't. We
can't do
have to
that?
wait. No, these are the ones that we actually need numbers for,
Oh, okay.
and we do them later on.
Got it.
So the ones I asked Libby about, we can make motions today. All the rest are scheduled for a future meeting. Thank you, though, Peter. Article 5, appropriation reserve fund. Libby?
This is typically a $500,000 appropriation. It seems to be sufficient.
Yes.
It did not exceed the 5% of the fiscal year 2025 tax levy per general law, and we recommend, I think Brian and I, to continue the standard program of a $500,000 appropriation.
Raise and
Brian?
appropriate, Madam Chair.
All right. Any questions or discussion?
Does anyone remember the last time we used that? Was it during COVID for COVID related expenses?
Matt, through you, Madam Chair, we actually used some last year. We made a transfer out of that to solid waste for some unanticipated additional costs in the operation of solid waste. So we did use some last year.
May I ask anything else you recall that we've used it for since COVID, other than the solid waste transfer last year?
Very sporadically, not up to that limit, but we have used it for minor things over the last few years, but nothing to that limit, above to the 500, no.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to adopt it, 500,000.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. So made by Chris, seconded by Peter. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Joe?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Jill? Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye. Thank you. Unanimous. Okay, Article 6, fiscal year 2025, general fund budget transfers. That will be at a future meeting. Article 7, personnel compensation plans for fiscal year 2026. That will be today. And Libby, back to you.
Sure, we reviewed this with you a few weeks ago. I think the changes are shown through using strikeout and highlighting. And I don't think there's anything unusual about it. We're recommending it as shown.
Thank you. Any questions?
Motion to adopt.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Made by Peter, seconded by Chris. Okay, Joe?
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jill. Aye. Peter.
Aye.
Okay, Denise, aye, unanimous, thank you. Okay, Article 8, appropriation fiscal year 2026 general operating fund budget. That will be in a future meeting. Article 9, appropriate, all, until I call on Libby, these are all at future meetings. Article 9, appropriation health and human services. Article 10, appropriation general fund capital expenditures. Article 11, appropriation town housing design owners, project manager and construction costs. Article 12, supplemental appropriation, public works facilities improvement design. Article 13, appropriation our island home. Article 14, supplemental appropriation Tom Nevers Road bike path. Article 15, appropriation fiscal year 2026 enterprise funds operations. Article 16, appropriation enterprise funds capital expenditures. Article 17, enterprise funds fiscal year 2025 budget transfers. Article 18, appropriation waterways improvement fund. Over to you, Libby.
Recommend the same number as in prior years, which Brian, do you recall off the top of your head what that is? I want to say it's about
Yes.
400,000.
It's, the motion would be, 367,000, Madam Chair.
Okay. 67,000. Good.
Motion to adopt.
At the sum of 367,000. Thank you, Peter.
Second.
Okay, made by Peter. Jill pipped Jeremy to the post on that one on the second. And, okay, roll call. Joe,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Jill. Aye. Peter.
Aye.
Denise, aye. That's unanimous. Okay. Article 19, appropriation ambulance reserve fund. Libby.
Again, that money covers a number of expenses related to the ambulance service. Last year was about $900,000. Is it the same number, Brian?
The motion should be for 915,000 this year, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Brian.
Said 915?
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions for Brian and Libby on that? Okay, seeing none. Motion, please.
Motion to adopt.
At 915,000, made by Peter, seconded by Jill. Joe,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jill. Peter.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Motion to adopt. Unanimous. Article 20, appropriation ferry embarkation fee. Libby.
Thank you. This, again, is an annual article. It's typically right around $200,000. Is it that number, Brian?
Yes, it was, should be the same appropriation as last year, which was 200,000, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the,
Is this from is it the $2.50 embarkation fee that we charge each passenger?
Yeah, it's not $2.50. It's 50 cents each way.
Oh, 50.
But yes.
there was some discussions about raising it, Jeremy. That's probably what you're thinking of
Yeah.
so far.
Motion to adopt?
Thank you, Jeremy. Look at that.
Second.
Made by Jeremy, seconded by Peter. Chris.
Aye.
Jill. Aye. Peter.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Jeremy.
Aye.
Denise, aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Article 21, appropriation county assessment. Article 22, appropriation finalizing fiscal year 2026 county budget. Article 23, rescind unused borrowing authority. Article 24, appropriation, other post-employment benefits trust fund. Over to you, Libby, and I'm guessing it's 500K.
Yes, in keeping with our ongoing effort to fund other post-employment benefits.
What is the unfunded liability?
I can actually tell you that if you give me 1 second to pull it up.
It's a big number. My
It
memory.
is, I will give you the exact number, but it'll take me 1 second, but yes, it is a very large number.
Brian, could you give us just a few short sentences on why this is covered for us? You did last year, but I just wonder if you could tell us again why this is not an impending disaster.
It's not an impending disaster because we currently, we operate on a pay-as-you-go basis for the retirees. The retiree health insurance is currently still calculated in the, general fund budget under Article 8. We have set up the trust fund to start to recognize the liability and eventually, over many years, eventually have it fully funded through there, so that we are only putting in the annual required contributions and moving it out of the general fund budget, but that's going to take probably 40 or 50 years before that would ever come to fruition. It's not an impending disaster because rating agencies and debt issuers have not forced municipalities to deal with it like they have with private companies that offered pension plans. So they are still comfortable with towns meeting the obligation on a pay-as-you-go basis.
And elsewhere, you have the right to borrow. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we have the right to be able to, and given the fact that we can raise tax dollars, they have look at it slightly differently than private enterprise. So to answer your question, Joe, the net OPEB liability right now, because we have about $7.5 million in the OPEB trust, is $115.8 million. As of the most recent valuation, which had a valuation date of June 30th, 2024.
Is that a present value number or a future value number?
That's a present value number as of calculated as of June 30th, 2024.
And
Valuation.
what is the PV rate that is used for that 115?
5.8.
So basically the risk-free rate on this liability. Okay. And there are assets in a trust as well as a liability, is that correct?
We
Or
have 7.6 million, which if you allocate this 500,000 will be deposited into that on July 1st. We've created an OPEB trust, which is invested long-term through Morgan Stanley.
And the assumption on the rate of return for that trust is what?
The rate of return on that is right now is 6.2, the assumed rate of return.
Okay.
Optimistic.
So
Any-
just away from the present value calculations, is there a point at which the annual cash flows on this liability hockey stick up?
Is there a point where,
You know, they're going along every year, we pay as you go, but is there a point that they then really increase?
Would it be a function of the demographics of the group?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So, and our demographics have been fairly consistent. So, I don't think I can't see a point today that they're gonna materially hockey stick in a negative manner.
My guess is that there are a lot of people that come in and earn benefits and leave before they're vested.
Well, you have to be vested in the retirement system to be able to draw the benefits. So you have to be here I think it's 10 years at this point. So before you'd be eligible for the benefits and drawing a pension at that point to gain them. So,
the turnover is pretty high, just given housing situation.
correct.
I think so.
I'm not sure about that.
Because once they're here, they stay. Usually if they have housing,
Okay, any other questions on this?
if housing.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
I second.
Thank you, Joe. Made by Peter, seconded by Joe. Chris,
Aye.
Jill.
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Denise, I. It's Motion to adopt unanimous at 500K. Okay, appropriation, Article 25, appropriation fiscal year 2026 senior work off program, Libby.
So this is an annual program. We've typically been appropriating $25,000, and we'd recommend that we do that again.
Any questions or comments about this?
Just curious how many people actually avail themselves of that program.
Brian, you gave me a report on this not too long ago. I don't know if I can pull it up. I'm going to say less than half a dozen a year.
Yeah.
And my understanding, this is a reduction in their real estate taxes. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's an offset to their real estate taxes.
Motion to adopt.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Made by Peter, seconded by Jeremy, and Chris.
Aye.
Jill.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Jeremy.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Okay. Denise, aye. It's unanimous at 25,000. Okay, Article 26, appropriation fiscal year 2026 Community Preservation Committee. Article 27, Community Preservation Committee, fiscal year 2025 budget transfers. Article 28, appropriation Community Preservation Fund for Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Article 29, we've already made a motion not to adopt on this. Rescind unused borrowing authority for Affordable Housing Trust. That was motion not to adopt, and it was unanimous. Article 30, appropriation Teenage Recreation Center Program, currently scheduled for us to speak again to Isaiah on Thursday. Article 31, and here we go with 37 zoning articles. So just bear with me. Zoning map change, RC, and next Monday the 10th, Leslie will be here to go through all of the zoning articles. So first one, Article 31, zoning map change, RC2 to R5, Surfside Road and Mayacaman Avenue. Article 32, zoning map change, RC2 to R5 or C-Tech, Rosemary Way. Article 33, zoning map change, RC2 to R5 or C-Tech, Appleton Road. Article 34, zoning map change, RC2 to R10 or CN, Surfside Road. Article 35, zoning map change, RC2 to CMI or C-Tech, 43 Nobody Farm Road. Article 36, zoning map change, RC2 to C-Tech, Old South Road, AKA Van Gilder Avenue. Article 37, zoning map change, RC to CN, 103 Washington Street. Article 38, zoning map change, ROH to CDT, North Water Street. Article 39, zoning map change, R40 to ROH, 0 Fair Street, portion of. Article 40, zoning map change, R40 to CN, 23 Airport Road. Article 41, zoning map change, open space parcels, various. Article 42, zoning bylaw amendment, temporary moratorium on tertiary dwellings. Article 43, zoning bylaw amendment, accessory dwelling units. Article 44, zoning bylaw amendment, protected use accessory dwelling unit, parentheses, ADU, close parentheses. Article 45, zoning bylaw amendment, principal dwelling. Article 46, zoning bylaw amendment, dwelling unit. Article 47, zoning bylaw amendment, year-round housing. Article 48, zoning bylaw amendment, off-street parking requirements, accessory dwelling. Article 49, zoning bylaw amendment, definitions, attainable housing. Article 50, zoning bylaw amendment, cottage community. Article 51, zoning bylaw amendments, inclusionary housing. Just many pages. Article 52, zoning bylaw amendment, use chart, pickleball. Article 53, zoning bylaw amendment, solar energy. Article 54, zoning bylaw amendment, technical amendment, Morelands Management Districts. Article 55, zoning bylaw amendment, technical amendment, secondary dwelling. Article 56, zoning bylaw amendment, temporary moratorium on recreational marijuana establishments. Article 57, zoning map change, R20 to R10, 32 Appleton Road. Article 58, zoning map and zoning overlay district, overlay change, Lug 1 to R20 and town and country overlay district change, 25 Monohensett Road. Article 59, zoning map change, Lug 1 to VR Rachel Drive and South Shore Road. This is the next couple Stephen is recused from. Article 60, zoning map change, R20 to R10, 13A and portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 61, zoning map change, Lug 2 to R20, portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 62, zoning map and zoning bylaw change, Lug 2 to R20 and town and country overlay district change, 44 Skyline Drive. Article 63, town and country overlay district, 13A Woodland Drive and a portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 64, town and country overlay district change, portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 65, zoning bylaw amendment, pre-existing non-conforming uses, structures and lots. Article 66, zoning bylaw amendment, regulating short-term Nantucket vacation rentals. Article 67, zoning bylaw amendment, regulating short-term rental use. And just a FYI for the committee, the articles that are zoning related to short-term rentals will be discussed when we discuss the other two general bylaws on short-term rentals. So they won't be discussed next Monday. Article 68, general bylaw amendment, short-term rentals. Article 69, general bylaw amendment, short-term rentals. Flip, 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 flip. Okay. Article 70, general bylaw amendment, finances, rename revolving account, add revolving account. Libby.
So it's basically exactly what it says. We are amending this bylaw to take the designation of lifeguard off of one of the funds and call it seasonal employee housing, which will include lifeguards, but could also potentially include other seasonal employees. So it's just to make it a little more broad. We're adding a revolving fund for employee housing as we are renting housing more actively. We want to be able to put rental payments into a fund to help upkeep the housing that is owned by the town.
Thank you. Questions for Libby?
Motion to adopt?
Okay. Made by Peter, seconded by Jill. Any further discussions? Seeing none. Jeremy?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Jill? Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye. That's unanimous. Thank you. Article 71, general bylaw amendment, streets and sidewalks. Libby?
This would allow the installation of traffic control devices using LED, like we're specifically talking about speed feedback signs, like the one that is on Milestone Road. Otherwise, the bylaw would prohibit them. We've had a number of requests from neighborhoods to be able to install signs like this, and they are helpful because not only do they tell you the speed you're going, but they collect data and useful information to help with enforcement and other interesting transportation information.
Thank you, Libby. Okay, any questions or comments? All right,
This is just during construction,
No, this would be
permanent.
permanent, but well, permanently movable. Like, for example, the speed feedback sign on Milestone as you enter Sconset could be moved around. It's not permanently affixed there.
And it's
From-
sometimes
from the
there,
island?
it's not. It's not always there.
but wait, hold on a second, Joe, one at a time. Jill, go ahead, and then
Sorry.
Joe.
It's.
So we're just gonna have,
Joe, hang on a second. Jill was talking. I'll call on you in a second. Thank you.
sorry.
Jill?
So we're gonna just be able to, you can just put these wherever you want, whenever you want, I guess, maybe not on State Road, but
No, well, it wouldn't be anybody being able to put whenever they want. It has to go through a particular process. I don't envision them being all over the island. I envision there being, I don't know, one or two, maybe three in specific areas that could maybe move around.
Joe, go ahead. Joe?
I was just gonna say that the one in Scottsdale is there sometimes and not there sometimes.
Mostly.
Thank you.
Comment. Public comment.
Hold on a second, Curtis. Peter?
Yeah, Libby, this information is for the police, it goes to the police.
It goes to police and it goes to the transportation planner to assist with, do we need to change the speed limit? Do we need more enforcement there? Do we need more outreach? Advising people what speed limits are, stuff like
And
that.
there's no camera involved.
No, there's no camera involved.
Okay.
At least I don't think there's a camera involved. I would have to double check that, but I think it's simply radar.
Curtis?
Curtis, I just want to ask if the police chief has been involved in this recommendation.
Yes,
In favor?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. That was Curtis Barnes for the minute taker. Okay, any other questions? Jill?
Well, can I just make a comment, or maybe somebody can remind me? It seems like we had a group of people who were trying to get rid of signs. Maybe it was that 2 years ago that we had so many signs. Did that group, do they know about this article, or have they waited?
So there is a sign committee for the island. So if you want to put a sign on something, it has to get approved by the sign committee.
Yeah,
Yes.
this was a
Yes.
group of, sorry.
Okay,
You're talking about the HDC if you want to put it, I think. The
No,
HDC
no.
subcommittee,
No, I was talking, there was a separate sign committee.
subcommittee of the HDC.
Is it a subcommittee?
I think that's the one you're referring to. Jill's referring to the other thing that Hillary,
Hillary
led
and
the
Bruce
charge
Benny,
on-
and there were a lot of
of
people.
limiting street signs.
Yeah, because they want to take all the ones off Milestone Road,
Exactly.
all the ones that say what, don't
Yeah,
run over the pedestrians that are going to be there in 50
Scenic
feet.
Vista.
I'm just flagging that this could be a bugaboo for them. I mean, I don't
It's only
think,
one to three units total for the whole island.
it's only how many?
1 to 3, I think is what Libby
I
said. We have
mean,
one.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that's how many she's planning for, right?
Someone has to buy them. What do they cost?
I don't think they're particularly expensive. And again, these were for safety reasons. We get a lot of complaints about speeding. And this was an effort to kind of contextualize the complaints and determine, are they valid? Do we need more enforcement in certain areas? And other data there, they count the cars as well, I believe. I can certainly find out more as to the cost and if there's a plan for a specific number, but I think the idea is they kind of move around, and traffic signs like this are really not subject to approval or disapproval of the Nantucket Historical Commission or the HDC.
Jill?
So then why is this, I mean, can you do this anyway? Why does this have to even go to town meeting?
Well, no, we can't do it anyway, because the bylaw right now prohibits this type of sign.
Okay.
So
Except
this,
that's why it's a milestone, because it's a state road and it doesn't affect them.
correct.
Motion to adopt.
Okay, is there a second?
Second. Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hold on a second, let me write aye and nay, anticipating there may be some nays. Okay, Joe,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jill.
No,
Okay, thank you. It's adopted. All right, Article 72, General Bylaw Amendment, Car Rental Agencies Registration of. Article 73, General Bylaw Amendment, Bicycle Right of Way. Article 74, General Bylaw Amendment Motorized Passenger Devices. Article 75, General Bylaw Amendment Wetlands. Article 76, General Bylaw Amendment Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town Sewer District Map, change Rachel Drive, South Shore Road, and Falcon Drive. Article 77, General Bylaw Amendment Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town Sewer District Map, change 42 Monohasset Road. Article 78, and then Stephen's recused from the next couple. Article 78, General Bylaw Amendment, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town Sewer District Map Change, 13A Woodland Drive and a portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 79, General Bylaw Amendment, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town Sewer District Map Change, a portion of 13 Woodland Drive. Article 80, General Bylaw Amendment, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town Sewer District Map Change, 44 Skyline Drive. Article 81, Real Estate Lease License of Baxter Road Property for Erosion Control. Article 82, Acceptance of Massachusetts General Law Seasonal Community Designation, Libby.
I would like to turn this over to town council. This was a recommendation of John's, and I think it's in connection with the seasonal community designation that we Nantucket and some other communities have been granted, but there was a question early on about whether or not it needs to be accepted by town meeting specifically, and I think John was recommending that it should be.
Thank you, Libby. Is John on?
He is.
John, please go ahead when you get a chance.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, John.
So many of you may be aware of this new option for being designated as a seasonal community, basically based upon recent legislation. If a seasonal community designation will allow towns to have more flexibility in terms of creating a affordable housing trust that meets points in the market that are less affordable, if you will, than what the Affordable Housing Trust and the CP and the Community Preservation Committee can fund. It also requires towns that are designated as seasonal communities to adopt some zoning bylaws, primarily in the area of allowing for quote unquote tiny houses, which I believe Nantucket already has such zoning bylaws. The way the statute is structured, a town like Nantucket gets an automatic quote unquote designation as a seasonal community, as does any other community that has a minimum of, I believe it's 35% of the housing stock are seasonal in nature. The statute, however, includes a provision that requires town meeting to either accept or reject the seasonal community's designation. And the way we have interpreted this statute, and a number of other towns have proceeding in this same direction, is that even though it's an automatic designation because of the nature of the community, the town still has the ability, actually is required to either accept or reject the designation. So this is a simple article that would accept that designation, which means all of the benefits and flowing from such a seasonal community designation will avail to Nantucket.
What would be the downside, John? Why would people not accept it?
The only possible reason that I can think of, Denise, is the requirement that the tiny house zoning be adopted. But that really, I don't see that as a downside for Nantucket at all.
Okay, thank you. Jeremy? You're muted, Jeremy.
Sorry. John,
Yes.
I was curious, for affordable housing, does in being so designated, does it change the required metrics?
The required what? I'm sorry, Jeremy?
Metrics. In other words, how much, if I heard you correctly, by becoming a seasonal community, the required number of affordable housing or some metric thereof would change. Did I hear you correctly?
It basically income eligibility, Jeremy, for the town to expend money on creating affordable housing. If it's through the Affordable Housing Trust or the Community Preservation Committee, it's basically limited to 100 or 120% of AMI. This new statute would allow towns to establish trusts to deal with other points in the market above 120%. I can't tell you precisely right now what that will be, because the Executive Office of Livable Communities is tasked with drafting regulations that will address those kinds of issues, and we don't have those yet.
So if I understand then, the positives are the income metric will go up of who can avail themselves of affordable housing. But the cost to the community is they have to change zoning to have smaller homes. Is that the two things that really balance this?
Yes, I think that's probably correct. But
And when,
as I said, I believe you already have a tiny house bylaw in Nantucket.
okay, so then if that is correct, and assume it is, this will just raise to an unknown amount at some future point the market for affordable housing. So more people could avail themselves of the town's affordable housing if this is accepted.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the term affordable. I think it's geared more towards attainable housing, Jeremy, which is admittedly not a precisely defined term, but essentially you're correct. And it would give the town more flexibility in creating housing for individuals at various income levels and not restrict it to the 100 to 120% AMI.
And do we know when those numbers will come out?
I don't know. I don't know an answer to that question, Jeremy.
Okay, so this is an undefined additive tool for the town at some point in the future. Is there a reason why it's being adopted now?
Well, there's no deadline in the statute for adoption of this particular provision, but I think that it would behoove the town to proceed now to adopt to accept, excuse me, the designation, because again, these things could move fairly quickly, and it would be to the town's advantage to be able to take advantage of some of the benefits that are going to flow from a seasonal communities designation. And so, it would also help to affirm the town's commitment to affordable and attainable housing for purposes such as grants, et cetera.
And my last question is maybe it's aimed at Libby, but while we don't know how the numbers or the metrics will change here, we have any sense, the order of magnitude of how this additional tool will affect the town? Will it let you have 10 more individuals, 50 more individuals get homes? Do we have any idea what it might do?
That's beyond my scope of knowledge right now. Do you know, Brian? We could consult with the Affordable Housing Trust, I guess.
Yeah, I have to ask them, Libby. It's beyond what I know about this as well.
Okay, so it's an interesting opportunity, but we don't have answers to really the impact it could have yet.
Yeah, and I'm not sure any town does, but we can, between Brian and I, we can find out if the Affordable Housing Trust has had any discussion about this and come up with any estimates.
Yeah, that would be nice to know.
And bottom line is there's no downside to it.
Yeah.
And the upside is to have it in place, so when it all does go live, we're ready to go versus waiting to ATM 2026. Is that my takeaway, John?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay,
Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I think there's a couple other significant things in here too, right? Isn't this the mechanism that allows us to give municipal employee preference in housing? And also it allows us to increase the property tax exemption on principal residences, which I know isn't an issue now because we're not at the maximum currently. But based on what's coming down the line, frankly, I don't understand why we're not at the maximum presently, and based on what's coming down the line, I mean, that's really significant. So I think there's a bunch of other really good stuff in here that we should be prepared to talk to. The other thing I'll note is the state shows us is already designated. So I don't know if we get de-designated if we have a negative town meeting vote, or maybe the state website's wrong, but the state says that because Dukes and Nantucket County are named in the thing, that we are already a designated seasonal community.
Yes, in answer to that, you are already a designated seasonal community. That's correct. And that designation is automatic. The question is, does the town want to accept or reject that designation?
So we could designate ourselves.
You could
Yes.
vote not to accept the designation. At least that's our interpretation of the statute. Libby, if you would like, I could have someone prepare a more detailed memo on what the impacts are and what the benefits would be, and we can have that for you in pretty short order.
That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
My issue is just if this is all really good, we should really have that down and not have this turn into any kind of quagmire conversation, and then just like get this thing done and through.
On
So
town meeting
on
floor,
town
you
meeting
mean.
floor.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the case unless somebody raises a point that's not the case. So that's
Okay.
my only issue.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
Peter?
take care of that.
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me in a minute or less what our tiny house regulations are on Nantucket?
I would defer that to Leslie,
Next
and
Monday,
plus,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Thank you,
maybe
John.
a question you could ask them next Monday.
Libby, it looks like you're talking, but you're muted.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I don't know if she's prepared for it, and I don't want to put her on the spot, but Megan Trudell is an attendee. I don't know if she can be brought in to explain that, or just wait till she and Leslie are there on the 10th.
You can wait,
We can
no
wait.
problem.
We'll wait till the 10th. Okay, so, does the committee want to see the paper that John's going to prepare before we make a motion on this, or are we ready to make a motion now?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. It sounds like chicken soup.
The only,
If, Madam Chair, if there was anything to come up that concerned the Finance Committee, you could always reconsider the motion to adopt at one of your later meetings.
Thank you, John. Go ahead, Chris.
Did we participate in the lobbying to get, I mean, this is something we asked for, right? Or
I don't, I think that, I don't know what our lobbying efforts at the
So-
state level were.
Within the affordable home.
We've
Libby?
been part of a group that has been asking for this.
yeah, so that's why it exists now, is because we had a bunch of other people in seasonal communities came together and said we need this. So
Okay, so,
I think for me, it's just more, sorry.
oh, go ahead, Jill.
For me, I'm just questioning, I just kind of want to know how it worked structurally, like, is this a separate trust fund? Is this like, it's gonna set up this trust fund?
I believe it's going to allow the town to set up a trust fund. I don't think it's mandated, Jill. But you may have looked in the past at sort of some other trust funds that have been authorized by special act. There's one in Provincetown for year-round market rate rental housing. They had to go through the whole home rule petition process. I believe the intent here is to make this a lot easier for the town to adopt if you do have your seasonal, if you accept your seasonal communities designation. But I can address that in my memo.
Okay, thank you, John. Jeremy?
Um, I think this sounds all great, but I really think the town should have a very crisp answer to why we want this. And so I would recommend we just wait until we get this. I don't see anything wrong with it, but there just are a bunch of unknowns. And especially when it gets to town meeting, it would be better if all of these unknowns or questions could be just crisply represented.
Okay, thank you. We already have a motion to adopt. It's been seconded, Jeremy, so we have to go through the vote on that and then potentially, if that fails, then we can postpone it. Otherwise, we can reopen it at a later date if we decide we want to revisit the motion, as per what John just said. So, okay, Chris.
Aye.
Hold on, I better write down aye and nay here. Just give me a second. Thank you. Jill,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Denise, aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Did I forget anybody? No. Okay. Done. All right. Article 83, and yes, Jeremy, it's a very, and Chris both made the point that when it comes to town meeting, this is one of those things that people should be able to stand up and say, it's for this is what we get out of it, and this is why we want it, and be very crisp about it. Okay, Article 83, acceptance of Massachusetts general law, effective military service on salary, seniority, and leave allowances of public employees. We already did a motion to adopt unanimous on this one, so there was one we already had done. Article 84, charter amendment town meeting. We already made a recommendation on this as motion not to adopt, and that was also unanimous. Article 85, general bylaw amendments, notices of public hearings. We already made a motion to adopt unanimous on that one. And then Article 86, home rule petition, community housing bank real estate transfer fee. And Libby, this is really just keeping these articles alive until the state rules on them. Is that is that a correct
Yes.
understanding?
Yes.
Okay. So I flip through all the pages. Yeah, so versions of the above home rule petition have been approved as Article 82 of the 2016 meeting, 88, 2017, 70, 2018, 79, 2019, 76, 2022, Article 79 of the 2024. So it's now Article 86 of the 2025 annual town meeting.
I move
Any
to,
discussion?
I-
Thank you.
Sorry.
I move to adopt.
Okay, Jill, go ahead.
I think this is only if the housing bank bill passed, isn't it? Isn't that what this one is? Which it didn't.
I think that's why it keeps it alive. So as and when it passes again.
Yeah, I think that's, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay, any other questions or comments before we follow up on Joe's motion to adopt? Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, I just think that, right, there's the competing ones. There's this one that's our home rule petition, and then there's the state effort that is ongoing. And I guess if our local people feel like we should still have our own, then we should give them the endorsement to do it, so.
I mean, it's been endorsed, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, I know, but it was kind of getting lapped by the statewide one, and I didn't know if it strategically, we would think about pulling back our own to just have our chips on that, but I guess I'll leave that to the sort of strategists.
As would I.
I don't think, sorry, I don't think we can do this. We can't come up with a tax like that on property.
We can if we get a home rule petition that is passed.
But it was my understanding this was so that we could accept that money if they pass that bill. That's what I thought that this was, but maybe I misunderstood.
John, do you want to give us the nickel
Well,
tour this article does?
It is the state bill, if you will, is a local acceptance statute. And would require a subsequent vote of town meeting. I think we looked at whether or not we could sort of pre-adopt it in our own home rule petition, and we have significant questions about that. You might have to bring this back to it, assuming the state act passes, you might have to bring this back at a future town meeting for adoption, because who knows what the language of that act might say. In these kinds of situations, any votes by the town meeting to support this kind of a program, I think will bode well politically up, as momentum builds at the State House. This is something, however, that's been fiercely lobbied on both sides. And so whether or not the state's actually going to adopt this on a statewide basis remains.
Martha's Vineyard has one, correct?
Excuse me?
Martha's Vineyard already has one.
Yes, well, yes, I believe that's correct. But any kind of a statewide effort is going to be much more significant in terms of potential opposition. So this again is another situation where affirming the town's support for this kind of legislation, would allow you to get this adopted just for Nantucket as a home rule petition, but B, would also show support that there is momentum in the community for general legislation as well.
Got it. So it supports the state.
Yes.
They don't, they help each other. Okay,
Yes, that's correct.
thank you.
Okay, so Joe made a motion to adopt. There was yet to be a second.
Second.
Okay, made by Joe, seconded by Peter. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. Jeremy?
Aye.
Joe? Joe?
Aye.
Thank you. Stephen?
Aye.
Thank you. Chris?
Aye.
Jill?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Alrighty. Article 87, same story in terms of home rule petition. Home rule petition, an act amending the charter of the town of Nantucket to implement certain recommendations of the town government study committee. So, Libby.
This has been pending since 2022. Same thing, just waiting for it to pass and refiling.
Comment,
Go ahead, Curtis.
Curtis Barnes, I was on the Town Government Study Committee. We did pass all of these recommendations. And as Libby said, this is the fourth time we're trying to get the legislature to look at it, so we should go ahead and do it just to get it done.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Wait. I did have a question on 87.
Yes.
I want to ask about. This might be. Well, maybe Curtis will answer it, but the town, Article 4, Section 4.3, the town manager appointments. It says shall appoint the department heads of all the town administration departments. Is that pretty much like who isn't included who would be included that wasn't included before?
That would be Libby's. Over to you, Libby.
Well, I don't think anybody, I think it's just for some reason adding the word department. The
Okay.
only department heads that are not approved by the town manager right now are school superintendent, anything to do with the school, water, or airport.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Go ahead.
I kind of understand that with the water because they have an elected body, but I don't fully understand that with airports since they're appointed.
The definition of town administration in the existing charter specifies that the airport, the water commission, and the school are outside of town administration, and that did not change with these recommendations, so I can't really speak to it other than the prior town government study committee did not change that.
So this would have to say town administration and the airport, or it'd have to be more specific, I guess.
It would have
Okay.
to change the definition of town admin, what's covered under.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Made by Peter, seconded by Jill. Any further discussion?
Oh, we have a hand. Oh, never mind.
Oh, sorry, I can't see the hand.
Arthur raised his hand for a second and took it down.
Arthur Reed.
Arthur Gasparro.
Oh, Art Gasparo. Okay. All right. Joe,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Denise, I. It's unanimous. Okay, all right. Okay, hold on a second. Flip. Article 88, Home Rule Petition, an act regulating the application of nutrient management and fertilizer in the town of Nantucket. And just for a refresher, this Home Rule Petition was approved as Article 86 in 2023, Article 83 in 2024. So, Libby,
Well, you might recall that this started out as a citizen petition.
Yeah.
It did pass, but it was quite obvious from advice given to us by our legislative representatives that it wasn't going to go anywhere at the legislative level. So, upon their kind of recommendation and town council's recommendation, the article was reworded in a subsequent year. And this is what it's been, and it allows for a specific process that expired some time ago. It's seeking to revive that process, which would allow theoretically for local boards to enact rules and regulations and bylaws relative to nutrient management and fertilizer applications, and it requires something to be done in conjunction with UMass Amherst Extension. It's a little bit complicated, and I'm not really sure that we've gotten any signals that it's what's the word, going to survive. But John,
If I may, Madam Chair, so the,
sorry.
go ahead.
so the Massachusetts Fertilizer Act included a deadline by which local action had to take place regulating fertilizers, fertilizer application. And that deadline, I don't have the exact date in front of me. I think it was 2014, by which local communities would have had to have acted. And of course, so Nantucket does have a set of fertilizer regulations, but I think the intent here was to go further than what is currently permitted under the Massachusetts Fertilizer Act. And so what this special act does is extend that deadline. It still would require the town to work with the UMass Extension and the Department of Agriculture, but it would give the town some, I believe it's 2 years, to adopt more stringent fertilizer regulations. So it would be extending that deadline for another 2 years. That's the intent here.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, may I have a motion? Anybody?
Motion to adopt.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Made by Peter, seconded by Jill. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Stephen?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Jill?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Denise, I unanimous. Thank you. Article 89, issuance of pension obligation bonds and notes. Libby or Brian?
I'll take this, so Madam Chair, this was actually brought forward in 2021 first. Back when rates were still fairly low, and this may have made a lot of sense to try to, we would have been able to issue bonds to, liquidate our pension obligation and realize some significant savings between our Barnstable County assessment and what we would have been paying in terms of the debt service. Right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but we still think it's worthwhile to go forward and get the home rule petition hopefully approved within this 2-year cycle. The pension obligation, our pension obligation is to be fully funded by 2038. However, in order to be able to consider this, we would need this home rule petition because there's no statute on the books that would allow us to do this currently. I don't know whether we would take advantage of it, but if interest rates turned around and with working with Hilltop, it looked like we could save substantial money between now and 2038 if we wanted to do this. The first step would be having this legislation. So we would ask for your recommendation to proceed to send this to the legislature for their consideration.
Thank you, Brian. Questions? Joe?
It's, Brian, it basically allows you to defease the liability. Borrow
Correct.
money and pay and therefore reduce the liability.
Correct.
There were a lot of people that did that when interest rates were low. And so I'm prepared to recommend this. It's a tool.
Thank you, Joe. Anything else?
Just
Yeah.
curious, Brian, our special advisor on this, what numbers does it begin to make sense? Because it's not just, you have to assume you can reinvest what you raise, correct?
It makes, well, to be honest with you, it made sense in 2021 when we did it. The initial interest rate scale and review of this projected about $35 million in savings over the life of the amortization table versus what we would pay Barnstable County. Right now, with what we would be able to go into the market with, there would be no savings. So we haven't focused on it very much right now, just because these would have to be taxable bonds, and which is the first impediment in this interest rate market right now. So we have not put a lot of energy into looking at it right now, to be honest with you, Jeremy, but I still think it's worthwhile to get this in front of the legislature to get the home rule petition approved, authorizing us the ability to do it. We also have to remember that there's a very long process to do this. We have to get permission from PARAC, which is the pension council, and as well as administration and finance through the governor's office. So it's not a very easy process to go through, even if we get this approval. And given the fact of the timing, I'm not even sure we would end up using it, but we think it's an important tool if interest rates turn to have in the toolbox if it made sense.
Thank you. A motion to adopt, if you need it.
Thank you, Jeremy. May I have a second? Thank you, Jill. Made by Jeremy, seconded by Jill. Okay, Chris.
Aye.
Jill.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Jeremy.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Denise, aye, unanimous. Thank you. We're getting there, folks. Article 90, home rule petition, conveyance of School Street from county to town. And this was Article 89 in 2024. So, and it was approved then. Okay, Libby?
It's just pretty much what you just said, and I'm just gonna read you how we described it last year in the voter's guide. The county is the owner of School Street, as described in the article, for highway purposes. In order to convey School Street from the county to the town must file a home rule petition to authorize a transfer and conveyance of all or a portion as described in the article. So it's, we routinely convey bits of county property to the town as needed.
Yeah.
But it does take a home rule petition.
Okay, Joe, you had your hand raised. Did you unraise it?
Madam Chair, is School Street in the middle of the town?
Mhm.
That's the only.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Fine and fair.
Between Pine and Fair.
it's between, thank you. It's between Pine and Fair, Joe, right in the middle of town. It's in the street, actually.
Yeah, I can get you some more information on this because the article actually specifies School Street in Nantucket, you see where it says parentheses Surfside. So this may be a paper street actually in that Surfside area, and this might actually relate to the Surfside area road takings.
No, this is for
It wouldn't be any fish lots, yeah, it's,
I told you.
Plan of taking for Nantucket County Commissioners, School Street in Nantucket dated May 26, 1981.
Close to the Hornell.
So it's a paper street, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Don't carry
Madam
this.
Chair,
Yes, Curtis?
there is a school street in town. It's on the map.
Yeah, there is. There's more
So
than
this
one.
Ain't this school street. This is a different school street.
Correct.
All right, just so we all know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's also two main streets on the island, Curtis, so if we can. All right, okay. May I have,
Head
a-
northeast toward Lower Pleasant Street.
and now Curtis is taking us all to School Street, field trip. Okay, may I have a motion, please?
motion to adopt.
Thank you. Made by Chris, seconded by Jill. Joe,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Denise, I, it's unanimous. Article 91. Home rule petition, real estate conveyances from town of Nantucket to Nantucket Islands Land Bank and or Sconset Trust. So. It is. This was. Approved as Article 90 of the 2024 annual town meeting. The properties are parcel 71 Low Beach Road, portion of former railroad bed, unnamed way bounded by the eastern side of Low Beach Road to the Atlantic Ocean and bounded by 2 Low Beach Road. And 6 Low Beach Road. Hawthorne Avenue between Ocean Avenue and Atlantic Ocean and 35 Grove Lane. Okay, all in Wisconsin. So,
So, Denise, I
Libby.
believe, these are all parcels that are immediately adjacent to existing land bank properties and or Sconset Trust. And the idea is they're in better hands with those agencies than the town. They would add to their conservation holdings and be
Yep.
able to be maintained in a ownership level way.
thank you, Libby. Joe?
These are I think are paper town, streets as well. It has to do with the old railroad and it's down below the bluff in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Joe.
Grove Lane, I don't think is,
Jill?
sorry, Denise. Grove Lane is, I assume this is the Grove Lane that's over off of,
Oh, New Lane.
yeah.
Yeah, they're in different.
That part's
It's
not
not all
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
It's not all Wisconsin. The last one isn't. Okay. Good? May I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Made by Peter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Jeremy. Thank you. Okay, Joe?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Jill?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye, it's unanimous. Okay. Article 92, an act amending the charter of the county of Nantucket. Libby,
Again, this was approved last year. It's simply making the county charter consistent with the town charter with respect to changing Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
Might be illegal today.
moving right along.
Motion to adopt.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Okay. Any further questions? I didn't think so. Joe,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Denise, I, unanimous. Article 93, real estate acquisition, parcels abutting Tom Nevers Road and real estate conveyance, Tom Nevers Road and parcels abutting Tom Nevers Road. So it's both hands of the transaction. Article 94, real estate disposition, long-term lease of portions of 48 Sparks Avenue and access and utility easements. Article 95, real estate disposition, utility easement portion of 10 Nobodere Farm Road / airport housing. Article 96, real estate disposition, utility easements airport. Article 97, real estate disposition, utility easement 16 Broad Street. Article 98, real estate disposition, utility easement Waite Drive. Article 99, real estate disposition, conveyance of 7 Amelia Drive to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Article 100, real estate acquisition, 3, 5, 7, and 8 South Shore Road. We did motion not to adopt at our last meeting, unanimous on this one. Article 101, sign satellite dishes, roof lines, proposals. Is Stephen Welsh on?
No.
Okay. Article 102, ground cover allowance proposal. Article 103, stabilization fund, and Article 104, appropriation free cash. Before I ask to close our next agenda item, John, I have a quick question for you while you're here. I got an email from the sponsor on Articles 101 and 102 asking if the Finance Committee can make a motion saying something like, people should do the work to make this a real motion. I'm paraphrasing. Obviously, that's not how it gets said. From my perspective, I always like it when it's cleaner, motion to adopt, motion not to adopt, table or whatever the options that we have are. But I just was looking for your guidance on this before we discuss this with the sponsor.
Well, I think that in my review of the citizen warrant articles, I believe I made that point. I'm not sure if Libby included that point as well in her comments.
No.
But it's really up to the Finance Committee to decide whether you want to add a particular comment or not. The bottom line is neither of these articles would accomplish anything. It's really more of a non-binding directive to town departments to study the issue and come back with proposals. So I'm not sure that you need a lot of explanation here, but it's really up to the Finance Committee to decide whether you want to add some kind of explanatory language to your motion or add just an explanation in the warrant, in the motion booklet itself.
Okay, or we can just do motion to adopt, motion not to adopt, as we typically do for our.
And if a question's asked at town meeting, you can explain.
Okay, all right, thank you, John. Okie dokie. All right, the next item on our agenda, so thank you, everyone.
So we're gonna wait and
Yeah, we have
talk
to
to
wait
Stephen
till-
about that.
yeah.
Is that the idea? Okay.
I was hoping he was coming today. So
So I think we'll be able to act on those
pretty quickly.
regardless if he's not available.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so too. So, yeah, we've had some scheduling challenges with some of the sponsors. Yeah, okay. Next up is committee reports. Is there any update from any of the committees? Okay, seeing none.
Oh, actually,
Go ahead, Jill.
are we going to talk about the town council study committee question on the warrant?
We do not have to make any comment on that. It's just at the town meeting.
Yeah,
We
just
can
to
if
know
we
you-
want- we
I
can
didn't know
if we
you
want
wanted
to.
And if you needed us to be here, or, I mean,
I
obviously
think
we'll
it's
be here.
very well written, by the way.
but- Oh, me too.
So,
We don't do it now. I just didn't know if people wanted to have that discussion or.
it's really up to the committee. There's, the non-binding sense of the meeting question about the town council study committee is not, the finance committee does not make any official comments on it, so we don't do motion to adopt or not to adopt or whatever.
But we have in the past for other ones, right? Isn't that what we chatted about?
Some of them we have, we have, but I mean, The one I remember was like 6 years ago, so.
It's fine. I don't think it's appropriate for us to actually to have a motion on this at all, because it, you know.
Or a comment,
Yeah.
but if the committee wants to, that's fine, we just have to.
Jill, I'm curious why you don't think it would be helpful to do this, because a lot of work will go into something that's modestly complicated. I believe some people look to the finance committee to see that what their recommendation would be. And there is
Well-
going to be a vote.
I think it's for me personally, it's because, I mean, if we actually, it doesn't look good either way. We're kind of, we're making a motion about ourselves. You know, the number one thing that happens in this is we're gonna get rid of ourselves. So that doesn't look good for us to weigh in either way. It's, you
It's
know.
not a true conflict of interest, but it smells like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, and it could raise more questions. I think we want a really impartial vote. I mean, this is more of like a poll, a little focus group, I think. And I think we want to have a really good impartial, it's fine for people to stand up and talk at the meeting, but I think we're really looking for people's first blush.
Chris, anything?
My only view is if we're gonna have a statement, it's gonna take some work from my perspective. I mean, I would wanna really dig in deeply. I wouldn't wanna do that. I don't know where I stand personally yet, and I've watched all the town meetings. I've, Joe Grouse and I argued about it for 3 hours at the Bar for Sorrows, so, and I still don't know where I come out, so it would take a lot of work of this committee if we wanted to do it, so it just,
Yeah.
we'd have to really.
I have no way to think that we should do it. I think we need to get more feedback from the town, which is what the select board wanted, which is why they asked us to do it. This wasn't generated from Joe. It's really generated from the select board and whether or not we should keep going forward.
No, Joe
Or
just had
not.
a point of view that we were.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I
Curtis,
hear it
go
every
ahead.
Wednesday.
Curtis, go ahead.
I just reminded that Peter Schaefer made the recommendation from FinCom to start the process, so I don't think we need to do anything more, but it did get endorsement here to do what we're doing now with the committee.
Thank you.
I think it would taint the voters. I don't want to taint how they.
Yeah, I think it
respond to
should,
this.
I personally think it should go straight to the
Yeah.
voters as it is. So, okay. Our date of our next meeting is Thursday. It's hybrid, and I think we're in, which room are we in? Are we in this one?
I
Or
think
we?
we're in room B.
We're in B.
Yeah.
Whoa.
B, we got, where, okay.
So now we're getting
Who we
kicked
up
out of A.
I don't remember.
Both of them.
Okay, any other business? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. That's always a zippy motion. Peter, made by Peter, seconded by Jill. Chris?
Aye.
Jill?
Aye.
Peter? Stephen?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Thank you, and really thanks to Libby for helping us get all of these articles scheduled so we could get through some of them, because I will be the first to admit that I was starting to get very twitchy about having 99 to go and only 9 meetings left. And some of them are going to be quite lengthy discussions, I believe. So anyway, so thank you, Libby, for taking the time to get this all laid out. And as always, thank you to everybody else, Brian, Stephen, John, and Susan and Rick for all your help on this. Thank you very much. And that's it, folks.
Thank you.
The hearing is a wrap.
The bee didn't get their credit,
Are we all?
but they did. get
We're
that
all,
one of the
I don't
committees.
know that we're all.
Didn't?
We have
You
to.
did?
Yeah, like
owl
all the
is
house
still
committees
on.
or something of it.
Why would
It just
they
comes
take ours
back
out
to
and
me
keep
that
theirs
half
So
of
bizarre,
what
so
we're
I
here
rode
is this
around,
zoning.
it broke more.
Chair, there's a lot,
And
there's
that's-
37 zoning articles.
Yeah,